to talk to you today about growing up under the one rule. I wasn't always under the one rule. When I was younger, that's when my dad started doing all of his research and he slowly started changing the way that he parented. So I have a perspective from a little bit of both sides here. When I was younger, my dad was fairly hands off. He was always great to have around and loads of fun. But when it came to parenting, he kind of backed my mom up most of the time. Back then, it was rules and consequences. And, we did get spankings and had to write sentences. That was one. My relationship with my dad was not the best. I definitely hid things and lied frequently. And that was mainly because I just didn't want to occur any punishment from either my mom or my dad. Um, for instance, during the holidays, like Easter or Christmas, we always have candy out on the counter. And my siblings and I, we were always told not to get too much candy. Um, but we would hide the wrappers like under the couch cushions or stuff like that instead of throwing it away because we thought that maybe they'd like see the wrappers in the trash. And so that was our relationship with our parents is definitely trying to avoid any punishment, any bad outcome, any arguments or yelling. That was definitely one thing that I pursued in our house. My sister, for instance, would always push back, and I learned from her behavior with my parents that if I hid and I avoided any conflict, that was better, in my opinion. And so it led to me having a hiding place in every single home growing up. It led to me really becoming very good at acting and lying. I became probably one of the best hide and seek players there is out there. But yeah, that was my relationship with my parents growing up is I just created all of these avoidant behaviors so I didn't end up um, getting any wrath or punishment or I don't know, even disappointment. Like when your parents get severely disappointed in you, it just never feels good. So my dad was very driven when I was younger and very work based, and he did a lot of travel for work and was gone frequently. Um, and then he decided to start this ministry and start doing research with all of these teenagers. And he would go to college campuses and interview people. Um, One day he came home, he sat everybody down in the living room, and he started asking us, about his parenting style and how it affects us, and we were looking at him like he's crazy. "We're not gonna tell you anything about how we feel about what you do." He eventually got us to start opening up. He was like, "I'm not gonna whatever you say is free game here. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna listen." And I think that was the turning point in our household, and in my relationship with my dad. Um, I could see something different. He really wanted to know how his actions and parenting style was affecting us. Um, he had really seen some hurt in those college students that he had spoken with, and he wanted to make sure that that was not going to happen with us. Step by step, he starts changing and he started noticing things. It really was a game changer in our family. Um, Punishment when we misbehaved or acted out changed from previously sentences and, um, doing more chores around the house, little things like that, to sitting down with my dad and talking things out, noticing the changes, how we were feeling in those moments and why it was just so different. Eventually, we started to realize that there were things that hurt us, and that's why we were lashing out at our siblings or lashing out at mom, and um, just everything started to change. I definitely have a much better relationship with him because of it, because I feel like I can talk to him about anything and everything now. Um, he's the first person I go to. It also changed my relationship with my siblings. They're probably my best friends, and it really hurts to see so many families out there where the siblings don't care about one another, which it seems to be such a big thing nowadays. Um, but my brothers and I, they are my best friends, hands down, the people that are there for me the most. So I don't know what I would do without my dad and my brothers today. I am currently 27. Then we've got Paul at 22 and Eric at 17. So it's really fun. Eric and I are almost 10 years apart to the day. We're just 3 days off of our birthdays. It's great. After COVID, I ended up getting a job at the Durango train station, which I had previously had the summer before. I became a supervisor in their ticketing department less than a year into that job and became their top person for training new hires and worked my way up to being third in command of the office, underneath my manager and assistant manager. We had a change in the management of our groups department, and all of a sudden I was the supervisor and the one and only person running the groups department at the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. That was a fantastic job, and I was definitely in an area where I could keep going up. But I did recently leave my position there so that I could come back and work with my dad. The reason I left my position at the train station to come and start working for my dad was because I really believe in the mission that he has, helping families come back together, even marriages come back together. It's really rewarding work, and to see all the difference that he can make in families is amazing. And I want to be a part of that. I'm really excited. He's starting a coaching training course and he's invited me to join that. So hopefully I'll be able to become a coach here pretty soon. Um, it's really rewarding to see the changes that happen in the individuals that come. A lot of people end up coming to Durango, where we live, to do a week-long intensive with my dad. And I get to see him normally at the beginning of the week. We'll invite him out for dinner, and then normally at the end of the week. And they really do have a transformation while they're here. And um, working with my dad is fantastic. We're kind of, as people have told us in the past, when we're working together, that we're kind of like a sibling relationship instead of a father-daughter relationship. We really like to joke around and mess around with each other, and um, regular father-daughter relationship in any way, shape, or form. Um, I get to sass him about little things, and he gets to sass me right back. So everybody talks about their kids having this dual life. You never know what they're doing when they're at school. You never really know what's going on in their head, to be honest. Um, but when you grow up under the one rule, it's different. My dad and I talk about everything. I don't think there was one thing growing up that he didn't know about unless I was, like, keeping a secret for Christmas or something like that. Um, every single night, I'd be in his room talking to him right before bed, going telling him about my day, talking to him about a decision that I had to make. That was high school for me. Prom comes around and all of my friends' parents are like, "So where are you gonna be? What are you gonna be doing? Who are you gonna be with? Do you have a ride?" My dad literally tosses me the Jeep's keys and says, "Be safe, have fun, and I trust you." And that was prom for me. If I ever needed anything, I knew all I had to do was call. And I have had a lot of conversations with my dad that many kids would have probably never had with their parents. But the one that probably sticks out to me the most is I went in depth and had a really deep conversation with my dad about breaking up with my first boyfriend. Um, most kids would probably break up with their first boyfriend and then come home and be like, "Oh yeah, we broke up," and then just leave it at that. But I actually called my dad from college and I said, I just don't know if this relationship is going to work out. I I just, this is how I'm feeling about it, and this is just not exactly what I'm looking for. I don't think. And we talked about it, and probably one thing that I'll never forget is how much he supported me in that, and he helped me realize that it was what I wanted. And then he supported me through the breakup, and he said, "Call me after you do it. I'm sure you're going to need help getting through that." And so I did. I called him right after breaking up with him, and that was 100% the best thing is to have his support and his love through all of that, and just how he did it. He never said, "Yeah, you should break up with him." He he's walked me step by step through how I was feeling and why I had made it to that decision before getting there. So before working with him more recently, I did take an entire summer in between college where I volunteered my entire time to help him with the ministry. So back in 2018, I came back from a retreat on Catalina Island with InterVarsity, the college ministry, and I realized that going down the path of ministry, and particularly going down the path of joining his ministry, is what I wanted to do when I grew up. And so I asked him, I said, "I have money saved up from my previous summer jobs. I really don't think I need a summer job. Can I volunteer my summer with you?" And so I joined him on staff meetings. I wrote blogs for his website. I did a lot of research on social media and the impact on adolescents' brain, and, well, the impact on anyone. And I got to write a few things about that, which was really, really fun. Um, that was the first time that people had told us that we were not normal father-daughter relationship, because they'd see us on the staff meeting just messing around and having a great time and just talking like we were equals back and forth. They were a little thrown back at first. I think it was the first time that his staff members um, and board members had seen the relationship that we had had together. So it was really fun. So that was a great chance to be able to dive into it, and I knew I always wanted to come back and work for him and do coaching in the future, and now was my chance. So that's why I'm working with him now. Yeah, I do trust my dad more than anyone. He is always there for me. He listens to me and helps me work through anything that I need. Our relationship is completely different to anyone else that I know, um, because I go to him for everything, help with issues that I'm having at work. When I was in school, I would call him and be like, "I don't know what to do for this paper," or, he was the number one person that I'll call when I need help. Um, I think the main thing about trust between the two of us is that he trusts me too. It's mutual, and he actually talks to me about his problems too. And I've given him advice as I've gotten older. And it's really empowering to have that sort of relationship with him. And I think that is the best part about our relationship is that he doesn't look down upon me in any way. He lifts me up as much as he can, and he tells me the truth. He doesn't hold anything back, and I know sometimes the truth sucks, but at the same time, you need to hear it, and I can do the same thing with him. If he did something that hurts me, I can straight up tell him that that didn't feel good, and this it made me, feel like this, and how can we work through this? And he apologizes, and I apologize to him, and our relationship is fantastic. I couldn't ask for a better father in any way, shape, or form. Is my dad perfect? No. He is not perfect, and neither is our relationship. There's always growing pains with anything, and we get through them together. The best part is that, we're both willing to talk to each other and work through the issues. He is very quick to apologize. We are not perfect in this house. Fights happen, and they always will. There's always going to be something that rubs a little on one person, and that's the beauty of the one rule. Love is that, you know you're not always going to say the right thing in the moment. You know, everybody's going to have their faults, but bringing it back to how much we love each other and that we will talk to each other. We may have to go and cool off a little bit before we do, but ultimately we always come back together and work on the relationship together and talk about everything. I believe that the one rule works in parenting because of how I've seen it slowly evolve and how it has changed my life. Um, from when I was younger to now, my relationship with my dad and my siblings and how I approach things in life is completely different than how I saw things when I was little. Um, I don't believe that if he hadn't started to make the changes that I would have been able to be as successful as I have been. And it really does change um, everything between you and your children. I am grateful for the One Rule Home because it led me to grow up in a completely different environment than a lot of my friends did. And I have this fantastic relationship with my dad today and my siblings, and I feel as though I have grown up with more confidence, more capability to do things on my own and to move forward in life a little bit smoother. I never went to a party. I never really drank um, alcohol or anything like that before I was 21. I did not do any drugs. Me not walking on the wild side doesn't come from, being that straight-laced individual. I just never felt the need. it wasn't a need for me to get attention or do anything away from my family. Um, it was a want to be there, to be around them, to have fun with them. Even in college, my roommates, this was freshman year, were all underage. They all get alcohol, um, and they decided to have a small little party in our dorm room, and I was there with them the whole time. I didn't drink at all, and I was the one who took care of everybody at the end of the night when they were all passed out. One of them had alcohol poisoning, and I was, took his keys away from him and took care of everybody that night. It wasn't that I didn't want to be involved in the fun. I was there and I had fun with them. It was um, more or less there was just no need in me to have that experience. And the following day, of course, I call my dad, talk to him about everything. Um, and it's always nice to know um, that he has my back and everything. He was actually really proud of me that I was able to take care of those, well, my roommates at the time, and make sure that everybody was okay in that moment. He was very proud of me. We would always wake up and run into my parents' bedroom and jump onto the big bed, and we'd cuddle with my dad, and he'd sing us songs. And he would take songs and change the lyrics to be whatever he wanted for that morning. The most famous one is he took the song from Singing in the Rain, "Good Morning," and he changed the lyrics for us. So it went like this. Good morning, it's time to sing and play. Good morning, it's time to dance all day. Good morning, Jennifer. He still sings those songs that he made up for us. Um, I mean, there were fun songs that he made for my brothers too, and the most famous one being "I Love You," and he made this one up all on his own, and it involved a little bit of percussion because my brother really likes playing the drums. And it would go, I love Eric, boom boom. I love Paul Paul, boom boom. I love Eric. I love Paul Paul. I love Eric, boom boom. And then it goes into talking about why he loves them. Um, and it's a great song.